Hey, what's up? Welcome to Father in Our Future. I'm Anthony Vandegrift. I'm not the perfect dad, but every day, just like you, I am trying to be better. So while I was still in Texas, my wife called me at one evening. We were just trying to catch up for the day, and she told me about this encounter that she had with my son. He asked one of his friends at school, a new school in a new state, if they were best friends. And he replied and said no. And it bothered my son. My wife had this conversation and this exchange with him. And I want to tell you about that. And then I know you're going to find yourself in this situation, in the scenario where your kids are struggling with friendship. I want to give you some advice on how you can help them and teach them about friendship. I want to break in real quick and let you know how much I appreciate you listening to the podcast. My prayer is that I can be a help and a blessing to you on your fatherhood journey. So if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. And if at any point you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email at fatheringourfuture@gmail.com. And if you want other good content, you can go to the website, check out the blog, and other free resources. Thank you again for listening. Be blessed. Do you remember when you became a dad and all of a sudden those New Balances just hit differently? There's something about fatherhood that impacts your wardrobe, and I'm happy to share that I can help you with that now. Fathering Our Future now has merch. We have sweatshirts and hats and other pieces of clothing that you will enjoy sporting as a father. Just go to fatheringourfuture.com, select merch, or click the link in the description of this episode and get you something that you will enjoy and be proud to wear as a dad. Dad, I want you to know I care about you and I am on your side. So I have a free gift for you. I've put together a 7-day devotional, extracted from my devotional, Following Our Father, to help you realign your identity as a dad to be the dad that God has called you to be and that your children need you to be. Simply click the link in the description below and get your free 7-day devotional. First of all, I want to say kudos to my wife for the way she approached my son, the peaceful approach. She was observing and aware enough to see that he was bothered, that he was disappointed, and as probably only a mother can, approached him in a very tender and loving way and just asked, "What's going on?" And then the thing that we often struggle to do is she just sat and she listened. And she just let him talk. And I will encourage you of this: whenever you are talking to your children and they do begin to speak, just listen. Let them get it out. Don't try to correct and fix every little statement that they make. Don't interrupt. Don't cut them off. Just listen. So I have a wonderful wife who is a wonderful mother, and she did a wonderful job in this scenario. But let me give you more details about what happened. So there's a kid that my son is friends with and was able to be friends with even before we moved up here, just from other trips and other past relationships. Other people who have kids our age or our kids' age, they were just able to connect. And now they go to school together. And when my son asked the question, "Are we best friends?" and he got that no, he was disappointed. But to his credit, I so appreciate my son because he is so wise for his age and mature. It's neat to watch. It's so amazing to watch your kids grow up. But when he was talking to my wife, he said, "I understand that friendships take time." He said, "I was just really hopeful that he would say yes." But, this struggle, this tension that he recognizes that I don't know that most 8-year-olds do. But some of that I know is gained from having conversations with me and with his mom about different things, and he listens and he really takes it in. Talk to your kids. You got to talk to your kids. But I want to focus more on this idea of teaching friendship to your kids. You cannot go and make people be friends with your kids. So that's not what you're going to do, because then they won't really won't have friends. But there are things that you can do as their father that will help them with friendships. And these are some of the things that I want to just talk about, because I imagine that things are not that much different from when we were in school. It was cool to have a best friend. When I was in school, it was a big deal. Yeah, you had buddies, but it was special for you to be able, with your group of buddies, to pinpoint one individual and say, yeah, this is my best friend. And then they reciprocate that. Like, yeah, like we're close, but we're best friends. Like we're all really good buddies, but we're best friends. It was cool to be able to do that. And I was able to do that, man, from first or second grade. Me and this kid, Chris, we were, I don't know that we actually were best buddies, but we called ourselves best friends. He probably spent more time with other people, and I probably spent more time with other people, but we called ourselves best friends. And then at another point in life, made another friend, and we called ourselves best friends. Now, we might have actually spent the most amount of time with each other, but thinking about it now, not always. Not we didn't always do that. But now my best friend today, and things have changed. We no longer live in the same place, so we might not be able to spend as much time in person together. But we will always stay in contact. And the thing is, you know this, and I just explained this with my experience, things change. Over time, friendships, they morph and they take different shape. And there are people that I was friends with, close friends with, did things with often, that I don't really do anything with today. And sometimes I miss those relationships, but I try to stay grateful for the ones that I do have, for the new ones that have taken shape. And as life changes, sometimes your relationships have to change too. If you have a bunch of friends who are bachelors, who either aren't married and don't have kids and are just in a different phase of life, you're probably going to find yourself in closer proximity and relationship with men in a very similar situation. And that's just going to happen. But this isn't about you having friends. This is about teaching our kids to have friends, which we'll kind of circle back to this in a moment. But just want to give you a few things, and I want to do this briefly. I want to, if you've noticed the last about month so of episodes, you've seen me in the same place, in this same shirt, with this same hair arrangement, because I batched some episodes, because I still have plenty to do in this new house, and I need to be able to have the liberty to do that. So I want to just make this a little quicker and to the point, because every time I say I'm going to be quick, as I reflect on it, I feel like I failed to do so. So I'm going to eliminate some of the fluff and just give you some of the treetop points, and then we'll leave it at that. But with that scenario, that with my son, that made me want to focus in on how I help him and give you some advice on how you can help your kids in the same struggle. So you have to remind your kids that there's a world full of people and that things will change. They're going to find themselves in different places. And maybe they have a friend from school that from kindergarten through the 100th birthday, they are side by side. Awesome. That's great. But there will be other friends along the way that will come and go, and that will change, and that those relationships will look different over time. The world is full of people, and there are plenty of people that you're going to be able to connect with on a deep level, that you're going to share some common things with. That's going to make it easier for you to relate. There's going to be people that are so different from you that you can't help but be friends with them. The world is full of people. So don't have your heart so set on one person that you can't see the other people in the room. That's the first thing to remind them of. The second thing is what my son already knows, but just give that friendly reminder that friendship requires time. Friendship doesn't just happen. It requires time. Another thing, and this is, I think, is a really important thing, the goal is to not obtain a best friend. The goal that you teach your kids is just to be friendly. They need to just be friendly to everybody. This is not a, well, I like this person. They look most like me. They are interested in the same sports that I'm interested in. So I'm going to hang out with them and be a jerk to everybody else. We do not want to replicate the years of middle school and high school that we probably experienced. And I'm not going to say what side of that I was on. You don't have to say what side of that you were on. I regret the way that I treated some people, but I did it because it was cliquish. It was about, we're going to be this sect of friends, and everyone else, I don't even know that you could hear that. I clearly need to have lunch. But everyone else, they were the outsiders. They were also the targets. Let's not repeat that. Let's remind our kids, let's teach our kids that it's not about getting a best friend and having a best friend. It's about being friendly to everyone. Because here's the other thing to remind them of, the fourth little thing. I have found that best friends tend to find one another. So I think about my best friend right now, Derek Weeks. I've had him on this podcast multiple times. I would say that he is probably my best buddy. And there's a very close contender, and that's Tim Jacobs. But I would say it's Derek because Derek and I are a little closer in age, a little. And because we're closer in age and because we went to the same church, we did more together. We've experienced more together. We have a lot more to look back on that we have done together. And he and I have just had really deep conversations. And spiritually, this is where we have kind of grown in parallels. I'll put it this way. Derek's currently going for his MDiv. He's going through seminary. And I remember when I first met Derek, you would have never thought that's where he ends up. He's currently pastoring a church. Never suspected that that's where he would end up. But it's been beautiful to kind of watch the course that God has crafted for his life. But I've been a part of that. I've been able to kind of walk the journey with him, and he's kind of been able to walk my journey with me. And when we first met, it wasn't a, hey, we're going to go do this. Do you want to go? Let's be best friends. It was, yeah, we'll do this. Okay, hey, I'm going to go do this. Do you want to go? Yeah, okay, we'll do this. It's just a very kind of casual deal, but eventually you communicate and you share more and you do more together and you know more about the other person, and it takes time. And at no point have I ever told Derek, you're my best friend. Or at no point have I ever asked Derek, are you my best friend? I've not done that with him. And maybe he doesn't feel that way about me. I don't know. I suspect he might, but I don't know. But from my perspective, I would view him as my best buddy. And I don't need him to reciprocate that same sentiment back for me to continue to feel that way. So, things to remind your children. First of all, the world is full of people. You cannot set your heart on only one and then neglect everyone else in the room. The second thing, friendship requires time. It's a process. It just takes time. It doesn't happen in a week of school. It takes decades sometimes. Sometimes it takes the lifetime. It just requires time. Number 3, the goal is to not find a best friend. The goal is to just be friendly to people. Be friendly. Stop looking for that one best friend. Be friendly to everybody. And then the fourth thing, best friends find themselves. It's not a quest that you go on. One day you'll realize, this is my best friend. It's almost like when people talk about the good old days and they have the regret of, I just wish I would have known I was in the good old days when I was actually in them. You kind of have this epiphany with best friends. At least that's how it worked for me. It was one day, years ago, I realized I do everything with Derek. I enjoy when I'm with him. I love our conversations. Derek is my best friend. And so you just kind of have this moment where you realize, you know what? This happened. And I don't know when it happened, but I know that it did. And that's more of how that best friendship kind of takes place. Hey, if you're a new dad or choosing to embark on a fresh start as a father, I have a gift for you. I wrote a book a while back called Cut the Crap, Direct Tips for Becoming a Dad. I don't teach you how to change a diaper. That one's totally on you. But I do talk about 5 elements that you need to focus on as a dad if you want to be the dad your children need you to be. Now, this is completely free. It is yours. There's no strings attached. The only thing that I'd like you to consider is if the book brings value to you as a father, make a contribution by going to fatheringourfuture.com/support. But you don't have to. Again, it is a free gift from me to you. The link is in the description after the end of the episode. Click it, get your copy, and I pray that it helps you. Everyone has an opinion on fatherhood, but there's only one place that we should actually look, and that's to God, our Father. That's why I wrote Following Our Father, a devotional for dads. In this, I cover 30 qualities and attributes of our Father in heaven that help us better understand our identity as dads. Each devotional is followed up with a daily step so that we can take the principles of our Father and immediately apply them to our own lives. This is a tool and a resource in your hands that will bless you. Click the link in the description and get yourself a copy of Following Our Father today. Now, some things that you can do that will help your kids with friendship. One is you model friendship. So my son, part of his issue and hang up, I think, with having a best friend is I've talked to him about my relationship with Derek. And I'm like, buddy, he's my best friend. And I talk about all the things that we do. But what I have to continually remind him of is my relationship with Derek spans 17 years. You're with someone for 17 hours and you're trying to mimic the same thing. So being able to give that example of this isn't something that happened in a month of school. This isn't this is something that happened over 1 or 2 school years. This is something that's happened over just shy of 2 decades. And that's continuing to happen. It takes time. But give them that perspective with your friendship. And tell them, hey, sometimes, early on, friendship was like this. Or sometimes, we didn't always do this. There are little things. I'll give this. I wasn't in Derek's wedding. And we did everything together at this point. He was getting married. I knew everything. And I wasn't in the wedding. I did not take offense to that. But there was a day after the wedding, Derek and I were driving either to the church or for lunch. I remember what road we were on, so we were probably going to the church. But he said, I just want to apologize because I probably should have had you in my wedding. He said, you needed to be up there. But he did what he did. And I understand why he did what he did. And I was just like, dude, I'm just really happy you got married. Like, I'm not going to be butthurt over, I don't even know if I could say that, but I did. I'm not going to be butthurt over not being in your wedding. Because it's not about me. That's your day. I'm celebrating you, whether I'm on the platform with you or whether I'm sitting out in the crowd as a supporter and an observer. It's your day, buddy. So he felt bad about it. And for me, it was no big deal. And so little things like that you can share with your friendship, about your friendship with your kids. And that helps them just so they know what friendship actually looks like because they're trying to figure this thing out. They're looking for a buddy because they think they're supposed to have one because what they see with you and your friends is a more mature relationship, but what they don't see are all the years behind it, all of the disagreements, all of the tensions, all of the awkwardness. They don't get that. They see the end result. Help them see the big picture. Model friendship with them. And then the last thing that I want to give you is I just want you to focus on community with other families. Find other families that also have kids close to the age of your children and spend time with them. Learn to love them. Learn to enjoy being with them. We have a family that they have 3 daughters very close to the age of our 3 oldest. And I reflected on this, and I might have even told them this or told my wife this, but I would have never, ever suspected or expected to be close friends with them. Not because I didn't like them, but the only reason that I am as close with them as I am is because of my wife and because of my kids. That's it. They were a little older. There was never enough in common. There was never enough proximity for me to ever suspect that we would be close friends. Now we're super close friends. We live 1,000 miles away and we're trying to figure out how we still vacation with each other. We're 1,000 miles away and we're trying to figure out, hey, when can you and the girls come up and, stay the weekend or something? We're still friends. And the funny thing is it started really with games. We played games, and games led to conversations, and conversations led to trust. It's amazing, this little thing that I often talk about. Communication builds trust, and trust is the foundation of relationships. And as you continue to communicate, all you do is strengthen and nurture that foundation. It works. It works. It will work with your kids, and it will work with friendships as well. So, because we established a relationship with them, our kids were able to establish a relationship with their kids. In fact, my son Frankie, which, when he's a dad and he's listening to these episodes way down the road, he might shake his head at this one, but he wrote a little letter to one of their daughters that he's sweet on. And I was like, buddy, more power to you. Proud of you, son. Anyway, that's what you can do. So as you go through the little reminders that you have conversationally with your kids about friendships, and we talked about the first 4 things, what you can also do is model friendship by being friendly to other people so that they can see how you interact with people. They can see how you greet people, how you smile at people, how you speak with people, and then help them understand the friendships that you do have, because they're seeing those mature. They're not seeing those in their development. Help them understand the stages of development within the friendships that they do get to see, and be intentional about being in community with other families so that you are putting them in proximity with other kids their age so that they can form those relationships. That nearness will help them form relationships. This isn't about helping them find best friends. This is about putting them in community so that they can build relationships, and then allowing time to do its work. And as time transpires, those friendships will morph. Some of them may fade. Others may turn into lifelong bonds. But that's what you can do to help your kids with friendships. Let's pray. Jesus, we thank you for your relationship with us. We thank you for your kindness with us. We thank you that you have been patient and faithful to us, that you relate to us not only as a Father and Lord and Savior, but also as a friend, that you have this down-to-earth, almost lowly relationship with us, to where you're not just on some stage that we cannot obtain, but you're a friend that sits closer than a brother, a friend that sits next to us through life and all the obstacles and all the victories. I pray that you would help us to recognize our friendship with you, and from that to pass on traits of friendliness and friendship to our children. Help us to speak to them, to be a voice for them, to be a guide for them on friendship. And help us, most of all, to model it to our kids. Help us to be friendly to everyone so that our kids will follow that example. Help us to be intentional about community ourselves with other families so that our kids have opportunity to build relationships with others their same age. Help us to be intentional with this. Help us to be in community. Help us to model it to our kids so that we can help them in this life to be who you've called them to be, a people of community, not a people of isolation. We ask this in your great name, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, go out, make friends, be friendly, find community, and as you do it, your kids will observe it and they will soak that in and they will learn and they will go and do the same thing. But remember, you teach this and you live it, and that's how your kids learn it. If you need anything from me, fatheringourfuture@gmail.com is how you can get a hold of me, whether it's questions, comments, concerns, or just circumstances that you feel like you need to type out and send to someone. Maybe you want to reply, maybe you don't. Just let me know, and I will help you the best that I can. But I would appreciate hearing from you, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to ask. I'm making myself available to you, fatheringourfuture@gmail.com. But I want to thank you so much for being with me. This is Fathering Our Future. I'm Anthony Vandegrift, and I hope you'll join me next time. Hey, one more time, I want to thank you for listening to Fathering Our Future. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, please do so wherever you listen and consider leaving a nice review because I would appreciate that. But if you're not connected to Fathering Our Future on social media, you can find it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and there you're going to get some additional content on a more regular basis that you don't always get here on the podcast. Now, the last thing that I would like to ask of you is that you would consider becoming a financial partner of Fathering Our Future, because dads make a difference, and dads are not disposable. Dads are vital, and they are essential, and they are needed. And the impact that dads make doesn't just reside in the home, but it has a ripple effect that goes to churches and communities and culture. And I'm inviting you to be a part of equipping and empowering and educating dads to be the dad that God has called them to be and that their children need them to be. You can become a financial partner with Fathering Our Future. It can be a one-time contribution, a monthly commitment, but by doing that, you play a direct role in impacting dads. You can check the link in the description below. You can pray about it. You can get on board. And I thank you in advance for becoming a part of Fathering Our Future in a special and a dynamic way. God bless you.